when we were discussing with the client this morning, and we were talking about delivering a product. They were purchasing a product, and they're purchasing a product for 50 years, 100 years, 150 years.
We have ships coming and going in and out of the port every day, every hour.
And we're seeing dolphins, we're seeing seals that have impacted the work.
Having ships travelling within sort of 20 metres of us is a big challenge in itself.
We're in Dublin Port. We're on the EMP2 Project. So this is a new project for Dublin Port. It's berth 52 and 53. It's part of the 2040 Masterplan. So what we're building is a roll-on, roll-off facility. So there's 2 berths involved in that, and it's going to bring extra capacity for port for future economic growth.
While we are working in this live environment where Dublin Port is one of the most busiest ports in the country currently, so we have the ferry ships coming in and out on a daily basis.
So this is a 602 barge. We have a 350-ton crane on it. We're just loading it out with piles currently, and that'll be going out on station there in the next hour.
The primary purpose is to have a vision for the project, a plan, and to implement that and communicate that. Also understand the client's concerns and relay that back to our team.
The capacity for currently will only take a certain size of a ship. What we're building will take up to 240 metres of a roll-on and roll-off vessel. When the tender came in, we would have looked at it, and we would have looked at it in that how can we de-risk the programme, how can we de-risk cost on the project. So how can we ensure that the construction processes that we're going to use on the project, that they're limited to risk to weather, to seasonal constraints, and in terms of trying to maximise the use of plant on site. So part of that we would have looked at in terms of constructing berth 52, which is a combi wall. We would have pre-filled out into the bay that allowed the plant to work off a land-based operation versus a marine-based operation. That would have significantly de-risked in terms of weather constraints, marine plant requirements, and it would have sped up the whole process of the installation of the combi wall.
We have the container ships coming in. We have public using their own small crafts as well. All those items we had to include into our risk management structure to ensure that we have solutions when we are exposed to them.
The way you approach somebody, you're getting the more out of somebody. If you go with the right attitude to a person and talk to them right, then you'll get the majority out of that person, and you'll get the respect from that person to do what you're asking them to do.
Wills are very cognizant of ecosystems that we are working in. We are very conscious of the sensitivity around these habitats, and these large-scale projects, infrastructure projects that we're working through, we develop plans, and we have a full-time team within the company that deal with environmental risks and assess the actual risk itself and deal with the habitats. Where the project is located as well, you're taking all the factors in as a live port. You're dealing with the marine mammals, you're dealing with, it's a brownfield industrial site, and you're looking at all the different factors that are part of this project. And the Construction Environmental Management Plan, which is the KEMP, that's drafted at an outline stage by the designers, and Wills Bros takes that CEMP on, and they focus in and develop our own KEMP based on that particular plan. And this is where we can really put in our mitigation measures, our monitoring strategies, our reporting and corrective actions on that. And this is where we bring added value for the price.
So we have MMO watches that happen half an hour before any of our works are started every morning, and again they are quite a big constraint that we have on site at the minute.
My main job is to identify the risks ahead, plan for them, sometimes have a couple of plans, and to mitigate those next week, next month and next year, the whole way down to January 2027, and achieve the project before that in a safe manner and provide certainty to our client.
The vessels that you see coming in and out are the ones that are our client's client. We have them at our best interest, and well, we do look after those as if it's one of our own.
You're out on the water, you're in a marine environment, so everything has to be done on water. So I suppose, look, you have obviously weather conditions, but then with that, then you're in a live environment. You have ships coming and going in and out of the port every day, every hour, and all that needs to get coordinated with what we're doing. A lot of the plant and machinery that we're using is significantly heavy machinery, and there's a heavy emphasis on coordinating that out on the water.
So we've got the 602 barge laying alongside the quay wall here. She's got a 350-tonne crane on, sitting on deck there at the moment. The barge was brought in there this morning, ready to load piles, ready to go back out on station there this afternoon. There's also laid on the barge at the front of the barge there is a 35-tonne impact hammer, and on the bow of the barge there is a 16-tonne vibrating hammer as well that's sitting on there. There's a live quay sitting over the far side of us there. The sea truck comes in there twice a day, which is a bit of a challenge in itself. The tug vessel that's with us at all times there, that navigates between any ship movements that's coming in through VTS into the lifeboat that's in here and working alongside us here. We're actually standing on the berth 53, the original berth 53, which is our loading area. You can see the piles in the background there, and we load from here with a 200-tonne crane that is sitting round on quayside a little bit further down from us there now.
We wanted to utilise BIM on the project for coordination. We're using 4D BIM on the project, which is bringing in the schedule into the BIM modelling.
We have a 3D objects, and then we have tasks on the plan or the program, and I align them together so that we can actually see in sequence the work that will happen 2 weeks, 12 weeks, 2 years in advance. So if you think about it, I see the project finished way before everyone else gets to see them. And so we use 4D to basically coordinate with all the machineries and plants on site.
We're ordering components for the project 12 months, 16 months in advance to make sure that they're going to be delivered when they're needed. But they form a significant part of the project that we're building, and we need to make sure that all our works up to that point are coordinated to make sure that when that component does come to site, that we're ready, number one, and that there's no errors in the construction to make sure that everything fits correctly.
My favourite thing about the job, I mean, why I'm still in civil engineering is because we build things, you know. And the challenges during the day can be great, and they are. It can be quite hectic, you know, but at the end of the week when you look out, you've moved that bit further, there's more piles in the ground, you've filled out more into the river. We're here because we like constructing things. When we were discussing with the client this morning, and we were talking about delivering a product, they were purchasing a product, and they're purchasing a product for 50 years, 100 years, 150 years. When you stand here and you look out, you see the south wall built by Captain Cook, you know, and when we're on the ferry and we're going to Holyhead with the kids, maybe next summer they can look out and they can see that's half built by Daddy, and maybe the following year it will be fully built. And in 20, 30 years time it'll still be here, in 130 years time.
And again, it's being respectful of the client. You know, that's a big part of our emphasis in terms of how we deliver projects. Bring the client along with us. The client has a big part to play in the project, and they have a big part of how a project can be successful. And that's a key emphasis for us.
I enjoy all of it, to be honest. I do. I enjoy all the moving parts, and when you see the moving parts all come together, I enjoy the whole process of everything, from the first bit that comes through the gate to the last bit that goes out the gate. And the first bit you come into the morning, and the challenges that it comes with it. I enjoy all of it.
In terms of the projects that I'm working on now at the minute, this was something I would have always thought that, not this in particular, these scale of projects. You know, when I was going to college, that's kind of the projects you would look at, and that's the projects you would think that, yeah, I'd love to work on projects when I'm older. So, you know, it's good that you're working on projects like these, significant, big civil engineering projects.